If I find the time, I'll do it.
You should. I've been watching Attack on Titan, which nobody knows about. Yeah. Bang bang! I love that.
The last thing I watched was the old Godzilla movie. It was like Ghidorah or something. Mothra. Well, yeah, it was Godzilla, Mothra, and then some other creature had to fight this one thing.
You guys watch Mad Men? You're gonna watch that tonight.
I tried to watch that.
Oh, come on.
But it's set in such an era where I'm like, okay, where's the black people?
Hey man, that's why you have to watch it, because they're in 1968 now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Really?
Things are getting crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to,
they're hiring people. Yeah.
They're hiring.
Yeah. They're hiring people of color.
Good. Well, then I'll check it out again.
Yeah. And you know, like they discuss civil rights a lot in it. Like, you know, I don't want to. There's no spoilers, but you know, they talk about Martin Luther King and like, you know, so it's getting to that really like, you know. Really kind of weird time in American history when, you know, Vietnam's going on, civil rights, you know, New York City's kind of crazy, you know, riots, you know. Bobby Kennedy, you know.
Is it Kennedy?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Well, that's a cool thing about the show, because you get to see everyone's reaction to like JFK, you know.
JFK is the coolest.
Yeah, and then like Bobby Kennedy like a few years later.
Dated Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
He's just side piece.
You don't date when you're already married.
Marilyn Monroe was truly gifted, though. I remember I read this article about her, how she traveled to New York with her photographer. It was this guy, and he said that they were in New York, like, you know, just sort of walking around the city, and Marilyn was there. But Marilyn, she sort of blended in with everybody. She said, and he said that, you know, nobody would notice her or anything like that. And then she turned to him, her photographer, and was like, "Do you want to see me turn it on?" And he goes, "Okay," right? So then she just literally just turns into Marilyn Monroe. And then he said that people just started approaching her on the street and just talking, "You Marilyn Monroe, so and so and so." And he even had this photos of like the before and during the times where she was just kind of like this, her normal self, and then her turning into Marilyn Monroe. And it was an amazing article. And then the photos itself sort of explained that whole the depiction of that too. So Marilyn Monroe was definitely
she was
ahead of her
incredible.
time.
Yeah.
As far as just.
She has like this book. Well, there's a book. It's Fragments. Have you heard of it? They've taken all these like diary entries and like notes she wrote on like cocktail napkins and like hotel pads of paper, and they put them all together in this book. And I mean, she was so insightful for like, she understood herself so well, and she was incredibly sad. Like, she was very like a broken person, but she's so much more complex.
Aren't all artists?
Yeah, but she like, after reading that, like she's just like so three-dimensional.
Really
She's
good stuff.
Fascinating.
She's cool, but I dislike the girls that live by her quotes. Like, if you can't handle me, my worst.
Right.
It was like, no. Why would you put that on somebody?
No, listen, because
What's the quote?
if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Well, no,
But
because
the thing
any
is,
dude at his worst, no girl would pretty much be by it. It's the only time I've seen that was with Ozzy Osbourne and his wife. Other than that, like, girls just up and leave.
Well, here's the thing: when girls are heartbroken, they turn to women that they look up to or that they want to be like, and she has all these great quotes about loving herself and being very confident. And when you're just going through a breakup, that's the kind of thing you're gonna gravitate toward. I have posted that quote on my Facebook.
I'm gonna start taking after Charlie Sheen.
I feel like I need to understand that statement before I can be like, I don't like that statement.
I do.
Well, because there's more of it before that. She says, like, I'm irrational, I'm selfish, I'm out of control, I'm hard to handle, but like, you gotta take all that stuff with.
Yeah.
Right.
The good.
It's just human nature, but like people just hang on that one quote. It's like,
you don't deserve me.
It's like automatically you're just gonna act crazy, and I gotta go through that. It's like, get out of here.
It sounds like a profound statement. Like, you don't have to look that over.
If you're a dude, you can't pull that off. That's all.
Anyways, it's rolling. Just to let you know.
Oh.
Just to let you know.
That's fine.
I went off topic because we were talking about TV. You know. We could have a whole TV podcast where we just talk about, last week's episode of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Game of Thrones.
That probably exists already, so we'll just.
Probably.
Definitely.
And there's probably people that are way more into it than I am that
I
can.
love
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
I just started it. Yeah.
Yeah,
What season are you on?
I'm in the second season.
Oh man, you're gonna love it.
I
I'm
know.
all caught up.
Yeah.
I'm watching the new one.
My
so.
favorite character is becoming more.
Who's your favorite character so far?
Khaleesi, the dragon
There you
chick.
go.
Of course.
There you go.
She's the best.
Wait till season 3. Let me tell you what happens.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is probably the best show on television.
I did watch Powerpuff Girls.
Well, that doesn't count.
Okay.
It's
Out
a
of
great,
here.
it's a great cartoon.
No, it is good.
In its time.
It is good.
Samurai Jack was very
Samurai
good,
Jack too. I like Samurai
too.
Jack.
Yeah.
Do you remember Mojo Jojo when he abandons the evil characters for what looks like Yoko Ono?
Oh yeah. They,
The
it was,
best
they called
episode.
them the Beatles or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they did. Yeah. I literally just finished watching the series.
I love that one. It's so funny.
And then at the end when they find out, like he finds out it's just like a monkey from the zoo, and it's
Yeah.
like the faces it's making, it's like, "Ah!" and it's screaming like that. Just had me rolling. I was like, wow.
Every time, Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo.
Yeah, every time.
It was me. He created the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, but who created that? Who created Mojo Jojo though?
It was that what happened.
I thought he came from Dexter's Lab.
No,
but he wasn't.
No,
'Cause
that's
a
monkey.
separate monkey.
Yeah, that's a monkey.
Monkey.
That would have been awesome though. Nice overlap.
Well, you see
would've.
Dexter in like the kindergarten or whatever, because
Yeah,
Dexter takes
yeah,
place
you
when
do.
he's in elementary school.
They need to make a Dexter's Laboratory movie.
That would be pretty
I
cool.
would go watch
yes.
that.
And like to
Little
see his
redhead
lab
kid
and
with
everything.
glasses.
And Mandark is like the main villain or whatever with his big head. Mandark.
He's in love with Dee Dee.
Yeah.
I miss those shows.
Who would they cast as Dee Dee? I think, what's that girl's name? Dakota Fanning. That would work, right?
I don't think she's a girl anymore.
Yeah, she's like 20. No, she's like a teenager at
I thought
least.
she was
She's
a
like
child.
30 now, yeah.
She actually died.
Well, Seb. Looks like that
Well, guess
one's out.
Dakota Fanning.
All right, let's
All right. Go for it.
move it on. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom!
We are now in our last segment of the show.
That's right.
And this last topic, I would like to say it's called Finding Your Sounds. Now, I don't know who I should have go. Okay, Cheb.
Yes.
Well, you mix sounds.
I do.
Well, okay. When DJing, what influenced you? Well, then again.
Okay. What influenced me while DJing?
Okay,
Or-
here we go. DJing is a basic level of mixing sounds. It's real broad.
Okay.
So explain your process of why you pick certain artists.
Certain artists that I would play during a set.
Yeah.
I would pick certain artists based on the rhythm of their song and then also the popularity of the song. And then also with my own sort of custom song selections, I would sort of pick. So it'd be a combination of all three of those things when I would play a set of music to a crowd of people in a dancing rhythmic-like motion. Yeah. So it was more or less like that. Is that?
That's a great point. Okay, I'm move on to Allison. I guess when y'all's group comes together, explain your process of creating your sound, like influences.
Okay,
Or
well,
what do you pick from?
well, we all have pretty broad interests in music. Like we have a lot of, there's a lot of overlap, but we also tend to gravitate towards different things. So when we're picking songs that we want to cover, we all pick like a handful of songs that we want to do. And then we listen to everybody's songs. And then we pick the one that we can agree on. So that everybody sort of gets to do a song that they want to do. And then we change it to fit the instruments we have. So we have a keyboard and a bass and guitar and a drum. But we also have a cajon drum, which is like it's a box that you sit on. So I mean, we use the instruments to define how the song is going to sound. If that makes sense. Yeah.
John.
Yes. Well, that was a question. Like, I mean, I don't know if you wanted to rephrase it or just finding your sound.
Because I guess you're in a band.
I play in a band.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your band's name?
It's called Calvero. 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 It was this Charlie Chaplin movie. It was one of his last movies from the 50s called Limelight. He's not in the tramp, costume. He's like just this old man, and he plays this washed up like vaudevillian performer, and his stage name is Calvero. So when I heard that like 10 years ago, and I was like, band name, so that's a band name, Calvero.
Cool.
Yeah, like and it has a lot of meaning to me because it's a movie I really like, and the movie has a really cool like message and everything. So it's just not because it sounds like a cool alt country name. I just always like try to tell people that it's like I wasn't trying to like sound, But anyways, it's Calvero. We don't really have a proper website right now, but you can like Google a SoundCloud or something. We have a lot of songs on SoundCloud, but in that case, like we all have similar influences, so I'll just bring a song and we just add to it, and your sound is whatever. I mean, whether you play guitar or sing, play piano or whatever, it's just like whatever comes out, is your sound. It's not right or wrong, obviously. It's just what you want to do. And
are there any particular artists that you guys tend to pull from?
Well, it's funny, we were kind of talking about how like some like genres from 10 years ago or something are like kind of weird now when people try to copy it, like irrelevant. Yeah. But we're kind of like pull out a lot of stuff from the 90s, and a lot of stuff like Whiskey Town, which it was like that was a band that Ryan Adams was. I don't know if you listen to him, but it was his like first band. So we have a lot of stuff that's more like alt country, and then we have some stuff that's more just rock, kind of like Gin Blossoms or something. It's kind of 90s alt college rock kind of stuff, mixed with I guess more contemporary sounding stuff. But but when it comes down to it, I think like you were talking about classic rock, and that's probably still my biggest influence, not so much southern rock or like stuff like Skynyrd or CCR, not that, because sometimes that's what people think about when they think about classic rock. But like I think like the Stones and the Beatles, that's like everyone's you listen to that, and that's everyone's like jumping off point sometimes. So a lot of stuff I do is influenced by the Rolling Stones probably the most. So
well, that's always a good thing. And just personally, so far it seems like everyone's taking their bits and pieces, putting it together. And I'll get to the whole point of this. Personally, I take hip hop because I rap. Automatically, it's thrown in there. People try to just classify me as a hip hop artist, but it's like, nah, you can't really do that. Electronic music, which I like to call techno to make Chef mad.
Successful.
But I use electronic sounds though. But of course I can switch stuff up. But I'm very lyrical, like older rap artist too. But then again, the way I play guitar is very 80s-esque. Just like the soloing and all that.
You shred like Poison sounds,
like
Guns N' GNR.
I have done a lot of that stuff, and I just all this like stuff from Fingertime, just everything. And then my favorite scale is the blues scale, like using that. It's very common, but it's great.
Hey, everyone uses it, Just gotta use it in your own way, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, and since that, and then I fuse all these things together, and plus my singing, I've been compared, I guess, the way I sing to either Prince or David Bowie, which is
That's not a bad, comparison.
Yeah,
Good with both of those
That
guys.
sounds cool.
So I think out of the most, like them, and then depending on how I sing, like almost like your alternative, like you're familiar with like Salison and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and then people also said I sound similar to like Brandon Roundtree from Conditions too. But him and I grew up in like the same background of music, what we did like from back in the day. So I can also sing like that too. So, but either way, everyone seems to pull from everything, thus making everyone sound unique. Now, we were talking about this earlier, how there was like the pop punk band that wants to sound exactly like such and such, but wondering why they only get but so far.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I feel like you should combine various styles. There's
Yeah.
no reason not to, unless you just like one specific style and that's all you listen to.
Right.
But
I don't. Yeah. Who does that though? I mean, maybe some people, but
a lot of artists, they
Yeah.
happen to do it.
Yeah.
I don't. And
Yeah.
personally, if you're an artist and if you just love music in general, you shouldn't knock other music. Like I know we talked about in the first episode that we did.
Uh-huh.
Like you might be able to pick something out from it or learn something. And I feel like people should be a lot more open and start incorporating the bits and pieces, because that's essentially like now I'm starting to see it's great with everyone here because everyone pulls from their own stuff and they have their own sound and everything, but there's a lot of people that still just don't do that.
Well, when you think about really like long-lasting artists, they change their music with
That too.
the time, so that they sort of, I don't know, adapt and add different genres. And like, I mean, the Gatsby soundtrack is like such a good example of doing that, because there's just so many different musical styles happening in one song, and it just works, and it's so different and cool, and people are really, really liking it.
And then that's one thing too, because a lot of artists have to keep in mind you have to make stuff that's refreshing. If you go back to doing something that's already been done and worn out, and either like let's say you have like 90s rap, and I'm not gonna say his name, but 90s rap is past, but to this day, you probably know what I'm talking about. But to this day, he still is like, oh, it's coming back. Like, no, it's not coming back. It's gonna evolve, yes, but like if that's what you're doing, if you're just doing that one specific thing, and you keep trying to, like, it's not refreshing. People are like, all right, it's already past. Like, you're not doing anything innovative, etc., etc. And I feel like the biggest thing to make a leeway is having people hear something new. Like, that's why a lot of people. Now radio's kind of getting a bit better, but it's going.
I'm sorry.
I mean, there's some stuff I do like that comes on the radio, but that's the thing with the radio runs into that problem. One, probably because they don't have artist development, they control everything. But like I was saying, they have like that same for the
Douche,
pop-
douche, douche. I love that song.
yes, starring Pauly D
Yeah.
and everyone else from Jersey Shore. But the same techno beat or whatever it is, and it's not. People tune out of the radio now. Record
I'm
sales
one
are
of those
going
persons.
down.
I can't stand most of them.
Well, you're
I
like,
think the radio almost it can kind of ruin it. They just play it because it'll be the same songs over and over again. The ones that drive me crazy are classic rock stations,
Oh,
because they
gosh.
have so much to choose from. They still play the same.
It's literally the same, like 7 songs every hour.
and it's so frustrating.
Yeah. It's like, how many times can I hear Boston today?
Yeah.
even though I will say it's not a bias thing. I still like listening to like Power 92 and stuff.
Yeah, I
Just
still
because-
like the radio. Just
I like hearing Chief Keef come on and Trinidad James.
What, you like Chief Keef?
Yeah, I like
Let's
Chief
talk
Keef.
about that. Why?
Because
Dude is a nuisance.
he is.
He's a nuisance. I can't.
he is, but that's like a whole different thing because
Oh my God.
I feel like rap has mastered like just that certain feeling. Even though like it's Even though it's like ridiculous, like lyric wise and stuff, and there's not much to
every
it.
single song of his is ridiculous.
Yeah, but when you play it, it's hype. Like
It
Trinidad
is,
James,
but it's
All
like-
Gold, everything. Like when that comes on,
Well,
you
that's-
just like.
Right, but Chief Keef has just words that don't make sense that are in this song, and I just can't stand it. I can't stand Chief Keef just because. The thing is when you make music on the platform that he's on,
Yeah.
you have a level of influence
Sure.
on people. So you can't make dumb music and then people go out and do dumb stuff and then you don't
It's
take
always been like that
responsibility
though.
for it.
It's always been. Look, they.
It's so idiotic, but that's the reason why I don't like Chief Keef, because he sends a retarded message and then little
Look
kids
at
pick up on it.
Eminem. I mean, Eminem. He's one of my favorite rap artists of all time.
He's mine. He's my favorite.
Yeah. But he wasn't a good.
No,
influence.
I mean I've always liked him.
What, Eminem?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then even Rock.
No, but Eminem stipulated beforehand that he was already crazy. Like,
Well, everyone knew Chief Keef was
no,
crazy.
Chief Keef never stipulated he was crazy. He
Have
never
you seen
said,
Chief
I'm
Keef's
crazy.
video?
Here's some
I
rap
don't.
song.
I don't.
He,
You don't
I'm
listen
not
to it.
familiar with that fellow.
I'm not sure who this
Don't
young
follow
lad
him.
is.
Don't soil your ears with his filth.
Well, here's the
It's
thing.
bad.
He was just like Odd Future. You like Odd Future?
I like
They're
Odd
stupid.
Future, but
They
Odd
don't even
Future-
make good music.
They
for
make
one.
great music. Yonkers is a classic.
All right, here's the thing with Chief Keef. For those that don't know, and I
It's
know
a
you guys don't know.
dumbass little 9-year-old kid rap.
The reason why he got, well, he's from Chicago for one. He grew up like, shit poor. And gang bangers all over the place, all different gangs like in
He's
his
still
block.
doing
And all that stuff. Well, Chicago's
Did he have to move cinder blocks around?
Probably, he probably did.
Did you like that callback?
Those bricks of
No,
cocaine.
Okay.
That's what it was. But the reason why he got huge, not only did he have like this certain style, but his music video was crazy.
It was dumb. It was him in a studio jumping around with shirtless. What? How?
No,
that's
I'm
not
talking
art.
the group music video. All right, this
What, Love
kid.
Sosa?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Still
That's
a
what
dumbass
made it.
video.
Yeah, it is dumb. But it was one of those things because it's out there in a lot, like in Detroit and Chicago, a lot of these terrible cities, like stuff like this is going on. But his music video brought to life what is going on with kids that are like 16. In the video, they're waving
made this
45s and AKs and stuff. And it's like, it's their whole game. Like, it's sad, but...
It's sad, but that environment does exist. Right.
But you gotta
Chief
understand,
Keef
like,
does not need to perpetuate.
it just, because when I listen to some
Sounds
of
like
his
he's
interviews-
glorifying it.
Well, he came from
He
it. That's
is
all he knows
glorifying it.
about.
That's why I don't like him, because
That's-
it's just...
Yeah, no, it's one thing to be proud to come out of something like that and make
Right.
something with yourself, but
He doesn't do
to
that.
exploit it
Yeah.
seems a little.
Well, here's the thing. This is a
Iffy.
complicated thing about rap. Like, there's some people that glorify it that don't really come from that, but I've seen like the video like where he actually came from, which is the thing, and like all different Chicago gangs around there and all that stuff. And when they do stuff like that, like a lot of rap artists, and you've heard the term like beefing and battling in rap and so forth. Like they make these songs. Yeah, they're in touch with like the culture of like hip hop and so forth, but at the same time, like they make stuff to intimidate other gangs, but other gangs do the same thing in other groups. So it wasn't so much. I don't think he knew that what was gonna happen. Like he felt like the song was really good, and he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a popular song." But then overnight, after he put this out, YouTube was made him famous. But then again, his sound was so original. And then Kanye took the song. Oh, the I don't
No,
like.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's
He
what made
liked
him.
that song.
And then Kanye was on it. Kanye just took the song and put
That's because
him.
that
Jay
was a
Kiss
raw
on it.
song. That song was like...
Well, that's amazing.
It touched a spot in your thug ass heart if you had one. If it was deep down in there, it would come out.
Bring
You'd be
that.
like,
Bring
I
that.
get that. That's
You
that
have
shit
one
I
right,
don't like.
Allison?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, because that song is very specific, and it's a simple hook, but it drives home exactly, and it says something
I
that
still
you've
like
said
that.
to yourself many a times in your head. You've said that to yourself. That's some
That's
shit
some
I don't like. Boom. He says that, and you have this
direct.
song.
But
that
I
just
still like
skyrocket.
I like listening to it for that reason though. It's just the rhythmic. That's one thing hip hop unlike any other genre when it comes to rhythm, like hip hop is still like the constant innovator.
It's the drums.
Yeah,
The drums.
exactly. Yeah.
Those drums are undeniable. That's something deep rooted in just human history. Whether you're, black, white, green, or lavender, it's just
Lavender.
But that's the thing though. All right, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Like I don't do like any like hardcore rap like that. So even though I could rap like that if I want, because I can rap. But like just the bass part. Like other artists, other people shy away from that. But it's like, man, that's the bass that's come from like hip hop is so influential. Like to this day, they've done a study and they said the music that affects women sexually the most is hip hop.
Not like smooth jazz or like
Nope.
like Teddy Pendergrass. And not that. What is that genre? Like I don't know, soul,
So
Oh, yeah.
soul R&B.
made back then, but
It's
now
the
it's hip hop. But yeah, that's the whole thing. And then but that's why like a lot of people won't listen to certain things. Like for instance, I was talking to Joe one day. He was like, I don't. As soon as I heard Linkin Park, it wasn't lyrical, so he was like, I don't listen to it.
Right.
But me, like the way I am, I was like, how can you not? Like it's so genius what they did, because even though their guitaring's simple, there's nothing extravagant to it. But they took that, their rhythm guitar. They have like they mix in with like the hip hop,
Well, speak.
Bass.
Yeah.
and then they also have like the screaming and all that stuff from the rock. Like,
But I always thought like the hip hop aspect of that when they would like rap, it sounded very 90s to me. Like the cadence, the rhythm of it. So, it's I know they weren't trying to like reinvent the wheel or anything with as far as like rapping, like rhyming and stuff.
Yeah.
But just going back to what you guys were talking about, like how people still sound 90s rap.
You're talking about Mike
True.
Shinoda. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Good.
yeah, he
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you
He
know.
ended up trying to be very much a lyricist.
I mean, I can't, he's done very well for himself. Who am I to say, like, it's just always an observation I've had.
But like that's because I feel like when it comes to like artists finding the sound, like I feel like regardless if it's something that people don't really listen to, I feel like there's something you can take from every genre.
That's true.
Like folk music is like the best music when it comes to telling a story.
Yeah, and country.
Country, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been working on songs this weekend, and that's where I was drawing from. I was listening to country. And
Yeah.
I want to write a story, so I'm going to listen to other people tell great stories, even though that's not like the genre that I would like choose to listen to over other genres. I mean, I like country, just it's not my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the whole thing. Like, not every song, and then a lot of artists too. They make the mistake of having all their songs sound similar. Like, why not switch it up?
Yeah, like, I've heard into that.
I don't like contemporary country, not so much, but
Yeah.
older stuff
older
is
stuff,
always
exactly.
really good. You can
They
always
have
have.
those clever like lines, little one-liners in there. That's what makes country
My
so
wife left me, my dog left me, I'm in my truck.
And that's the thing too. Like, it's great because it's so direct.
Go to church.
Like,
yeah.
lyrics don't always have to be complex. They can be basic. I feel like artists should utilize both sides of the spectrum. When it comes, make dance type music or lean towards dance, and then just make something that's an ambient or something. Like, go in all different directions. Overall, like, I feel like, artists might feel like, oh, I might go too much out of my lane, but I feel like what's gonna keep everything connected personally, especially if like you're a band, because I know bands that have the issue of going like a lot of rap artists just don't know what to do musically because they're just rapping. But your singer's gonna connect anything that you do, even if you go far left or far right. Like that voice is gonna bring it back together, and then plus you still have your same
Instruments.
either two guitar, bass, drums, and stuff like that.
Yeah, just when you're finding your sound, just remember, write stuff that you can perform your choreography and dancing easily. You can sing it, and yeah, it was a joke about
I got it.
But then,
it was another callback to the first
yeah,
topic.
from before. But that's actually a good point though. That's a good point.
I mean, think about it. It's something to think about.
Exactly.
You're like, if I want to dance on stage, like let's write something that is realistic. Because everything I record, I cannot recreate it exactly like that live. It's totally stripped down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what's great about Pro Tools or and MIDI, and you can have an orchestra. You're saying you live in an apartment, but you can still have a drum set, on your keyboard, and humanize it, and make it sound like a real drum set. And it's so really the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, and just kind of going back, yeah, it's just, what was I gonna say? Lost brain fart, but no, just going back and mixing it and listening to yourself too. That's one thing, because I know when I write music, I used to make myself so complex, and I had a lot of guitar and stuff going on, but then I had to learn to, if I want to do certain movements or whatever, because like I do like the dance and spins and all that stuff, but in order to do that, like I had to go back and listen to it and take out certain parts. So it's like, all right, here's where I'm gonna do like a guitar throw or something like that. So I gotta make sure I can pull this off.
Like, this is where I'm gonna jump off of the bass amp.
Exactly, yeah. And I gotta be sure I can get back to my spot and jump into where it's supposed to jump in.
It's valid to think about that,
So yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So which helps to have your own recording equipment too.
That is all. This all ties into what you were talking about at first, because what I want to say at first, you could copy and paste this to the beginning or just leave it. But no,
I'll figure it out.
about like having your own studio. I just want to say, for $500 you can get an interface and a mic or something, and you can have a pretty really good sound in your room, and especially with MIDI and stuff, you make it sound like you have instruments that you would never have. But it becomes a certain point where I think a studio will always be relevant, and they will always be around, and not you don't have to pay $100 an hour to go to one. You can find another one, but just to have. There's a few important things, just to have someone that's engineering it and setting everything up so you can focus on your performance and your playing and your singing. You don't have to worry about setting up mics. You don't have to worry about hitting record every time you mess up, You don't have to worry about cutting and pasting. You can just do your thing, and it's a little, I guess, extra money, but and a lot of people, they love to be in the booth, It's a whole experience,
The booth is pretty cool.
You're not really like a rock star until you go to a studio for a night and lay down some tracks with your friends, because you can, but it's doable in your room, There's a lot of great resources, but
there's more access.
Yeah, but if you want tube preamps and the newest version of Pro Tools, and you can focus on just playing your instruments, then studio is always a the way to go, especially if you're trying to send it out to a label or whoever, so even if it's a demo,
exactly,
have it sounding nice,
And then sometimes personally, when I went by In Your Ear from before, I mean, I asked the recording engineer his opinion on my stuff too, and what he thought of it. Just what came
musically?
to mind. Yeah, just what came to mind just from hearing myself. And I feel like artists should do that too, because if you go to a place and then think about it, a recording engineer, you hear so many different artists, so you're gonna hear what's good, stuff that you can stand listening to over and over because you're recording and editing. So I feel like input is very important. So even though they might be in there for a certain amount of tracks, be like, hey, some recording engineers will be like, hey, try this next time. And I feel like that also helps in shaping, an artist's sound too.
Yeah.
Because then you have someone who's just literally listening to all types of stuff, whether they want to listen to it or not. They will end up picking something up because they're editing it. So yeah, it's important to go to an actual studio. I'd at least recommend at least once someone should go to an actual studio, just to get the experience and try to learn stuff, and then it will also help
Yeah.
shape what you're trying to do and help make something stand out more to the public and sound more original. So.
Yeah, even if you're great at mixing and recording yourself, it's a good experience. It's fun,
Indeed. So, but yeah, no, that's definitely good stuff. A lot of information. I want to say as for now though, because I'm sure people got a lot of stuff we got to do. Any plugs, any shows going on? We'll start with Hollywood, John Beverly Hills.
Oh gosh, there's a show at McCormick's. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've never been there. It's in Shockoe Bottom.
Oh, the Irish pub.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have it upstairs. I think it's June 14th.
Okay.
June 14th, Calvero. And I work on a TV show. It's called Midnight Frights, and it's on every last Saturday of the month on PBS, your community idea station, at midnight. And it's like a monster movie, sci-fi horror show like classic, in quotes. Films, horror films from like the 60s, and there's a host that introduces them, and Joe and I, we do the sound for it. We run the sound when they do the shoots, and provide a little bit of music for
cool.
So we're gonna start doing that. Yeah, so check that show out. It's really good. It's called Midnight Frights.
Can you find that online again?
Yeah, it's they put the episodes on YouTube, so if you miss it, I always DVR it, but if you miss it, you can watch full episodes on YouTube. It's like we do like these. It's kind of like Mystery Science Theater, but we're not, commentating throughout the whole film. So it's like sketches with the host and his pals, and they film it at the Bird Theater. So it's like you'll recognize that as the backdrop. But it's really funny, and it's a cool like local Richmond thing, and there's cool music in it that the host did. He played a lot with REM, like members of REM, like in the 90s and stuff, and he's a really good actor, and you'll see him if you check it out on YouTube, and every last Saturday of the month on WCVE, and then they played again on the next Friday, but it's like once a month.
Well, that's certainly what's up.
Watch it, yeah.
Indeed, we shall.
That's all though. That's all. My Hollywood stuff, I'll let you know about that later.
All right, cool.
It's in the works.
Hollywood, John Beverly
Well,
Hills, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was just gonna, hit record and not do anything, but I've always wanted to be on the internet.
Yeah, man, definitely. You gotta get your name out there.
Yeah,
So.
I love hearing myself talk, so
Good.
I couldn't pass it up,
Nice. That's certainly what's up.
But thank you. Yeah, it's cool.
No, I'm glad you decided to hang
Yeah.
out. So, and, Allison Kennedy, do you have something to plug? I know you have a show coming.
Yeah, we've got 2 coming up.
Ooh, ballin'.
One at On the Rocks, which is in Shockoe Bottom, on June 7th at 8. And then we have another show the next night, June the 8th, at Mediterranean Bistro, and that one is at 9. And we are Alcyon Blue. We have Facebook, we have Twitter. Yeah,
I'm gonna check that out.
It's pretty confusing. I'm not sure I like Twitter just yet, but follow us, 'cause we like followers.
Indeed, we are.
Yeah, man. I think they already know because I spoke about this before. Nintendo, INT3NEO, boom, Facebook, Twitter, it's there.
Boom, pow.
A lot of remixes of rap songs that you probably like that cause riots. So,
Chief
there you
Keef.
go. no, but yeah, you can find us everywhere from Twitter to Tumblr. So yeah, just type that in Google, you'll find it. Yeah.
Word. And me, I'm doing this. I'm doing this for you guys. So when you guys listen to this, just support, follow us on Twitter, check out the website. Leave some comments on the YouTube video pages. Just let us know what you think. You know, 'cause I have a lot of other great things planned that are top secret right now. But yeah, this is what I'm doing, and still writing my own stuff. So, but yeah, until next time, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.
Buenas noches.
So long.